I'm Jen Taylor, and I voiced Cortana and the Weapon and Halsey in Halo, and Princess Peach and Toad. I used to do that, and Zoe in Left 4 Dead. Wow! Nice. That is not a response I normally get. I love that.
Yeah, wastewater management.
Wastewater management. Yeah. What else? Dota 2, Salem and Ruby. Yay! So, for those of you who are like, who is this lady?
Yeah, you were also
That's who I am.
the main character in Sin episode.
Sin episodes? Nobody pulls that one out.
I really wanted more of that series because
It was fun, actually.
fun.
Yeah, and we thought there was going to be a series.
Right.
Yeah.
Like Ritual was saying, every 6 months they were going to release a new one, and that I was looking forward to.
And you're like, where's that? It's
we're-
been 6 months.
It's been a bit.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
And Kate Archer in No One Lives Forever.
2. No One Lives Forever 2. Yes. He's like, come on, guys. And yeah, I was talking to somebody today, backyard baseball, backyard football, backyard sports series. Anybody play that?
Yeah.
Eleanor came up and did every single one of my characters perfectly, which is a little scary, because now I'm out of a job. Actually, I was out of a job a long time ago with that one. That's old.
Are there any roles that you've played where nieces, nephews, or any kids in your lives that are into that show, have you ever been in it, and have you shown them your character? Do they believe you or even care?
I don't have any children, but I do have 2 nephews who do not care at all. They don't care at all. I think my 13-year-old nephew has a friend who's really into Halo. His name is Ian, everybody, Ian. And I guess he uses that against Ian sometimes. Like, well, my aunt is Cortana, but I don't think. No, they don't care. Yeah, they don't care.
you.
They're into Minecraft. Oh.
Do you think Cortana will ever end up in Minecraft?
She should.
You mentioned at the last panel that you hadn't gotten to meet Steve Downes until 2012 when Halo 4 came, when you guys did Halo 4.
Yeah, or 2011, I think it was. Yeah, at the 10-year anniversary.
I was curious if you've ever had the chance to meet and work with Keith David, who does the voice of the Arbiter.
I have never met Keith David. Wow. Steve met Keith David, and Steve has the biggest crush on Keith David. I'm sure he talked about it, right? He was just Steve got stupid and starstruck and was like, oh my God, Keith David is here. No, I've never met Keith David.
I don't blame him.
I think everybody is when they meet him, right?
Mm-hmm.
You just have to be, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
doesn't know who Keith David is.
What? He's looking him up on IMDb right now. Yep. Are you gonna read it out for us?
Great question, man.
Oh.
No association.
Hi.
Hi. You voiced Cortana in over 6 Halo games over 20 years. When voicing the Weapon in Halo Infinite, was there any difficulties in voice acting when portraying a different personality of a Cortana clone?
I think of the Weapon as a different character entirely. I understand that she needs to sound similarly a little bit to Cortana, and the notion that I got was from the directors, from the creators, was that she, in so many words, is like a reboot, right? And is fresh and new and doesn't have the cynicism of Cortana. So she's just beginning, she's fresh. And I tried to think of them very differently, though, when I was doing it, because she has a very different outlook on this and a different job from the very beginning. So no, it was fun. I really love the Weapon. I really love the Weapon. I do. And I know people have different opinions about her, but, varying opinions about her, but I really love her, and I hope that we get to see more of her. And I hope that when we learn that her name is something like Lorraine or something. Lorraine. Anybody got any suggestions? Because I'll take them, and I'll take them back with me. Joy.
Dorothy.
Thank you.
Dorothy. Mercy. I mean, Mercy is an obvious one, right? Because the katana is the sword of mercy. So it could be Mercy, and that would be Actually, I hope I didn't give away. I don't think I gave away anything with that one. I just came up with that. Anyway.
I don't see any Microsoft reps.
Yeah, right. Somebody's in the background.
So my question is about Salem. So,
Nice outfit. I like it.
thank you, my crow. Couldn't afford the sword or the scythe. So my question is, how did Salem feel when she realized she was the cause of her 4 daughters' deaths?
You know, Salem and Ruby has so much anger and sadness and despair that I feel like it's a mountain of despair at this point. I mean, I don't know. It's got to be even. I don't know if you're numb at that point, but I also, for my purposes, I like to think that it hurts the worst, that it's the worst pain, if that makes sense. That it continues, it's exponential, but she can bear more pain, if that makes sense. It's terrible, it's awful. Yeah, I think. But it's more importantly what you guys think, because it really doesn't matter what I think, really. I mean, that's how I'm playing it, but what are your thoughts? That's what I want to know.
So after everything that happened with Ozma and the gods and her becoming immortal, not being able to die, I do think at some point she did lose her emotions. But I'd like to think that after her daughters did pass, that whatever light, whatever tiny speck of goodness was left in her died with them.
The amount of anguish that somebody like that is going through has got to be just so remarkable. I mean, when I was saying she's numb, the gentleman behind you was like vigorously nodding his head. The anguish has got to be just deafening, is what I think. Yeah. Thank you for that question.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. I thought in particular the last sort of mission and scene in Halo, where eventually you are able to, where Chief and Cortana escape, but in the end it's like, at what cost? So I want to know was so I'm wondering, from your opinion, what do you think was in the sense of sort of tone by the end of the game once everything is said and done? Once you escape the Halo and you prevent the flood from spreading.
Well, there's got to be an immense amount of relief, but also the fear of the unknown a little bit. But Cortana doesn't live her life fearing the unknown, so so I think that, that was one of the beautiful things I felt about playing that character. Jen Taylor is a scaredy pants. Like, I would be shaking in my boots. And there's this just remarkable strength in this character. Of course, she is an AI, so where does that come from, right? But it's, I think there is a remarkable sense. I think there's relief. I think there's anxiety about what might come next, but I also know that I don't believe they weren't planning on doing a Halo 2, so that was the end. That's how they were finishing that. So, that question is really, truly for you to ponder. Like, how would that feel if Halo just ended there? Done. I'd have no life. Right? Because I talked to Marty O'Donnell at the Halo Championship Series, and he's like, we had no intention of making a second one. It was done.
All right. Well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I sort of talked around that question.
So you keep in contact with a lot of the old team?
Well, Joe Staten is a friend, and Marty O'Donnell is a friend. Actually, so many of them. CJ Cowan's a good friend. But we occasionally get to see each other at different, different cons or things like that. So yeah, occasionally. And Marty gives me all sorts of information that I had no idea was happening. Same with Joe. So it's good.
Awesome.
Yeah, behind the scenes. Hi.
Later on in the Ruby series, we find out that Salem at one point was sort of like a damsel in distress, like Princess Peach is a lot of the time. And I was wondering...
And they're both blonde.
Yes.
And I'm blonde.
I was wondering
Ivy's
if, like,
blonde.
your work as Princess Peach, like, maybe influenced either how you portrayed the character during that time, or like the direction that character ended up going, possibly.
I loved the idea that Princess Peach inspired Salem. But no. No,
Okay.
but I love. But no, I'm gonna come up with that theory. Let's feed that theory, everybody. That's where it came from.
Well, thank you.
Yes, thank you, Ivy.
What was one of your favorite moments portraying Cortana or the weapon? But before if you do say the weapon, just let me know real quick, because he hasn't played Infinite yet, and I'll just tell him to cover his ears.
I had so much fun doing Infinite and playing all three characters. I really had a marvelous time trying to figure out the gradations of those different characters and where they all landed, and had, they come from one place, right? There's this one seed of, and trying to figure out how to keep them connected but separate was a really fun, scary, exciting experience for me doing those. But playing Cortana over the years, like, what's a super memorable moment? There's so many crazy memorable moments. The first 4 that I did, all the ones I did with Bungie, I did in the booth. So I was just in a booth by myself, recording everything. And it was after that I started to get to do motion capture, performance capture, and that was a great joy. That felt like an expansion for me to get to do that. I'm a theater actor. That's how I started as an actor. And so getting to use, everything I got was super fun. And also intimidating. It was scary to me to have to physicalize Dr. Halsey and to physicalize Cortana and to physicalize the weapon. It was very intimidating. That's probably the most memorable. It's because I felt like, am I going to do right by these characters? Am I going to represent them in the way that I feel is authentic and that is going to please the fans? So that was a big moment for me, shifting into doing performance capture.
All right, well, I just want to say I can't imagine any of those characters any other way.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
I wanted to know, what was like one of your favorite Halo games to work on, like Infinite 2, 3?
As I said, Infinite was really delightful to do. But probably the most fun for me was Halo 4, because that was the first and only time that I got to work with Steve.
That makes sense.
And that was a joy. When I met Steve, as we said, at the 11th, or the 10th anniversary, the 11th anniversary, because that's what you celebrate, the 10th anniversary, which was in 2011, and I walked up to him and gave him a bear hug, and I think I jumped on his back and was like, "Hi, you're my new best friend." Because it felt like you're the only other person in the world who understands this journey that I've been on. And so I forced him to become my best friend instantly. And it was so fun to get to travel down that road with somebody else, So that was a wonderful time. I had a great time doing that one. Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. It's hard for me to choose, though, because they're all my babies.
I was always wondering, since Infinite is such a departure from 5, where did you, when you ended 5, see Cortana going as in the next game?
I really thought at the end of 4 that she'd be dead and that we wouldn't see her anymore. I really thought that. And that's why I was able to, that's why Steve and I were both so brokenhearted at the end of 4, because we thought,
Oh, yeah.
we're saying goodbye to somebody that we both really love. So when I came back in 5, I was surprised. And so I didn't know what to expect after that. I felt like, oh, okay, well, now I really don't know what's going to go on. There is a speech that she has where she's speaking to all of the other AIs, all of the other created. I don't know, in 5, I don't know if you guys know it, and it's a long speech, and I only had 2 takes to do it. My gosh, they gave me 2 takes, that was it. Thank you.
That's really good speech.
And I remember as I was doing it, what I was thinking was, I hope I get to do more of this.
Yes.
That's what I was hoping for in Halo 5. At the end of Halo 5 was, I'm greedy, I want more like evil speeches, so.
That's what I was wondering. It was really nice to be able to see like Cortana really take this huge arc and be kind of this main protagonist in the games. And I was really looking forward to seeing like what Halo 6 was going to be. And now with Infinite, it's vastly different, and I'm excited to see where it goes. But I was curious to find out.
Yeah, to be the antagonist. Yeah, it was really, that was a really interesting, what was so interesting and that I had to keep reminding myself is that she thinks she's the good guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
You know, the antagonists always think, I think Salem probably thinks that too. She thinks she's the good guy. She's gonna fix everything.
So you enjoy playing like, not necessarily villainous characters, but ones that are a little misunderstood.
Complicated.
Complicated. Yeah, complicated.
Yeah, Catherine Halsey is one of my favorite people to play.
She's fantastic.
Was there a different, when you were doing the mocap, was there a difference when how you had to carry yourself with the different characters?
Yes. Is there a difference in mocap how I carried them? Yes, which is what made me so scared. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
What was the process for you in terms of getting into character for Halsey? Did you try to connect Cortana to Halsey at all, or initially, or was it more of just, or did you treat them as 2 fully separate people?
Yeah, I had to, did I treat them as separate, Halsey and Cortana? Yeah, I had to treat them as different, very different characters. And I hadn't read Reach before. I don't think I'd read Reach before I played Halsey. So I didn't have a ton of background the first time I played her. I just knew she was the creator, right, of the Spartans and of Cortana. The very first time I did it. And I became much more familiar. I know that Marty told me that their dream person to play her was Judi Dench. So yeah, so I'm second choice there.
Well, I'm glad they picked you. I'm glad they picked you.
But yeah, no, I thought of them, I tried to think of, I thought of them as very different characters. But again, there's a common seed, sounds weird, but there's a commonality that they have that I tried to hold on to.
Makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
So the first time you voiced Peach and Daisy was in 2001 with Mario Party 3. The only thing is there's only like a minute and a half of lines for each of them. So it was like 3 minutes total. How long did it take to record 3 minutes? And was it like a complicated process, or were they just like, yeah, come in, say the lines, get out? Because it's not like Super Mario Sunshine where there was all types of dialogue.
Yeah,
It's
no,
just
they...
get in, get out.
I didn't have any sessions longer than 4 hours for any of the Mario games. And that's with all of the characters that I've played, like with Peach and I would never have more than 4 hours of work. And they would always do Toad at the end. But I don't, for exactly that, I mean, so often I wasn't even told what game I was doing when I would go in. They'd just be like, hi, you're back, welcome, here are your lines, let's do this. And I'd do the lines and they'd be like, okay, bye. And I wouldn't know what game it was until I left, or later, when it came out. And sometimes they'd do a couple at a time. So I'm not entirely sure I remember that exact, I'm sure, I doubt it took very long. I would come in and give them 3 takes of everything and they'd say, awesome, see you later. That was about it. Yeah.
So about 18 minutes then?
Yeah, something like that.
Awesome,
Probably.
thank you.
Yeah.
Halo series, you've served as kind of Master Chief's rock, as Cortana, and to a lesser extent, maybe Halsey. You've served as his rock, and for me, the Halo series has done that for me also. Have you ever played your role with that in mind, and how's that been?
Yeah, have I ever played that? Yeah, I mean, she is his lucky charm, right? I mean, I think of her that way. Marty said something, I'm going to hail back to Marty. We said something interesting at the last time I saw him, is he said, the hero, and I like this, the hero of the Halo games is Cortana. That's what Marty said. And I know that Steve, if Steve was sitting here next to me, he'd be nodding his head. He'd be like, well, but he'd be nodding his head. Because she's the one who changes, right? She's the character who has the biggest arc. And Chief, as the player, you can't choose what sort of emotional response you have. So you're watching this person, this character, change so much. But yes, no, I mean, she's his tactical, she's everything for him. And I think of their relationship as intimate in a way beyond any kind of love affair or friendship. They are in battle together. They are in the trenches together, and she has to always be his backup, his backup, right? She can't pick up a gun and fire it, but she's his go-to. So yes, that I've always thought about that. Yeah.
Awesome.
I've always thought about being his rock is not how I would have said it, but yes, yeah, absolutely.
Thank you so much for elevating something that I love. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I was wondering, do you have a favorite game that you worked on while working with Nintendo, and did you ever meet Miyamoto?
No, I did not. Is it? Yes, it's the one where Peach is the. I like the one where Peach is the star. Sunshine. Is it?
Is it the one on the DS, Super Princess Peach, the one that you play as her?
Now I can't remember the name of it. I need my IMDb. See, I need to look up IMDb.
Was that Super Princess Peach?
Super Princess Peach?
I know that's the one that you play as her. I know Super Mario Sunshine, she has a bigger role too.
Super Mario Sunshine.
That one was my
the one.
favorite.
That is the one.
I know a
Yes.
lot of people didn't like that game when it came out, but it was my favorite, and I still play it a lot.
Yeah.
So.
Also, Mario Kart. I mean.
Oh yeah.
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 Yeah. When I met my husband, he did not care really about Cortana. He played Halo, but he was like, yeah, whatever. Yeah. Bro, did you say bro? Bro. And then he found out that I had played Toad, and he was like,
oh, yeah.
Wait, what? And now you have my attention. And I was like, yeah, and listen to this. That's Toad going around a corner. And I won his heart.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So you've been Cortana for a very long time, since Halo was first released in 2001. How about your other Cortana that the world got introduced to in 2014? One that I have a greater love-hate relationship with, the one on the Microsoft side that's built into all of our PCs.
Uh-huh.
How was the process of going through that, voicing for them, being less emotional and still using the same name? What was that like?
It was very different doing the AI. It was very, very different. It's so a very different technical process.
Yeah.
You have to repeat. Not only am I doing signature lines, if you ask, I was saying this earlier, if you ask the AI in these exact words, do you know Jen Taylor? The response is, I can't get her voice out of my head. And there's a lot of things like that I recorded directly, you know, hi, Chief, and whatever. But they also needed to make me say whatever they wanted to. So I read thousands, probably tens of thousands of lines that were totally random, off the internet, and I had to do them all the same way. So, yeah, and most of the time, we had so many for some weird reason that were about Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I don't know. It was all about, basically every different sound that you can make and collection of sounds. And so they would be about politics or about basketball or about Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And everything had to sound like this. Over and over and over again. It was pretty mind-numbing. Hours and hours and hours. And we would crank these things out. So it was a very, very different experience. And it was fun when I got to directly record the stuff, like the silly line I said before or whatever. That was really fun.
Yeah.
So it was very different. It was very different. And they also said, I remember saying, are you sure you want to choose Cortana? I mean, she just went rampant, and I don't know if this is the AI
2014.
one. Yeah. They were like, no, this is her. It's her, but she's happy to be helping you. Just happy to be, because I was like, what Cortana are we doing here? Which game?
When was she ever happy?
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
How long were those recording sessions usually? How long were those recording sessions usually?
How long were the recording sessions? They started out being 4 hours at a time, but it was truly so mind-numbing. We had to pull back. I think we did 2 to 3 hour sessions at a point, because I also had 2 people in the booth who were making sure it was exactly, it was mind-numbing. It was mind-numbing.
How does it feel to play Halsey, who was very much a cold stone person for most of Halo 4 and 5?
Did you say a cold stone person?
A cold stoic person also. Then immediately drop all that once you've seen Chief for the first time in ages.
It gets to show you where her heart is, doesn't it? It gets to show you. I thought what was cool about that was getting to see the humanity of this woman. That's what I thought was so cool about it, right? Her, in her screwed up way, he's her baby.
Yeah.
So that was a really interesting moment to play. It was fun to play. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
When it comes to all of your acting career in general, are there any roles that you're typecast into more so often than not? And then is there any roles that you would really like to try something new, or certain archetypes that you really enjoy?
That's a really good question. Are we talking about, because theater versus voiceover?
Yeah, how about both? Or if you'd like to only answer the voice acting.
What I think is so marvelous about voice acting, and one of the reasons that I love it so dearly, is how free it is and how we can play. It doesn't matter what we look like. It doesn't matter what sort of energy we give out as a human being. One of the first jobs I had, I played a baseball glove.
Yeah.
What? So it's so, in that respect, it's so freeing to me. And that is what I love about it. So I don't know if, at this point, in all honesty, I think Cortana, the role of Cortana, has kind of pigeonholed me a little bit. I think people are a little afraid to cast me because they're afraid I'm going to sound like Cortana. So, I'm guessing. So I would like to do something completely different, like play a monkey. Or, I don't know. I have friends who are working on video games, and I'm always like, make me something totally weird. I want to be the monster in the back, or whatever. I want to do something completely different. That is of interest to me. In theater, I almost always play the vulnerable woman. I don't know what that's about. I'm vulnerable. Yeah. That's what happens.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Maybe they'll cast you as a football helmet.
What did you say?
Maybe they'll cast you as a football helmet.
I need to be a football helmet next.
So you played Princess Peach and Toad in Super Mario Sunshine, and that was one of the only games where those characters got to speak in complete sentences to tell a story. I was wondering if that was how different that was to portraying the characters in just the short bursts that you usually would have done.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun to get to add on to that, I still think that our sessions were pretty short, but it was fun. With those characters, I never got to really delve into what they were feeling about things, it's not really that kind of game, exactly. But that one was fun to get to play with them a little bit longer, right, in a more extended way. It was absolutely a ball. I love playing Peach and Toad. It was a blast. I had a great time doing that.
Thank
you.
I did want to know, was there any pros or cons switching between mediums whenever you did work for the Paramount show versus all the games you've done? And was there any additional weight that you had being pretty much the only main character that was carried onto the Paramount show and as an actor?
Well, I had finished doing, I'm pretty sure I had finished doing Infinite by the time that I started shooting the TV show. And for those of you who don't know, I did motion capture for the first season of the TV show. So I was there shooting. It was different in that most of the time when I do performance capture, everybody else in the room is also doing performance capture, and we're in a big blank space with just a whole bunch of cameras and lights around us, right? And we're imagining, oh, there's a ship landing, oh, aliens are getting out and we're running away from them. On the set, there's a set. I remember walking onto Halsey's ship and just thinking, this is one of the greatest moments of my life. That's something I have been involved in, has expanded in this way. I mean, I was teary-eyed, truly. I will always remember it. It was also challenging in that I was the only person doing motion capture. And so they had to, and there's so much technical stuff that happens with a TV show, with shooting. And so to add on not only that, but also just one person doing motion capture. I mean, there were people playing aliens who were also doing motion capture, but we weren't in any scenes together, so I didn't get to interact with them. Was a challenge, and I feel like, and depending on the director, sometimes it was like, we're not gonna focus on the motion capture, I'm less interested in that, which was hard, right? I mean, because they're focused on the TV show and less so on that. It really depended on the director that we were working with. But it was, I will always remember, and I think I told somebody this story, we were working in a big warehouse in Budapest on this set, and I need internet for my stuff to work, all of the things that I have, and they didn't have very good internet, so I had an Ethernet cable attached to the back of me. So there is a scene in particular where Master Chief is testing Cortana because he wants to see how much power she has. So he's gonna kill Dr. Halsey. I don't know if you guys remember that. He's threatening to kill her. And when we shot it, I was following Pablo down the hallway. He was running down the hall, or he's walking down the hallway, and I was following him. They didn't end up doing that. They had me just appear, because why does Cortana really need to walk? She can just pop up, right? But they had me walking down the hallway, and I was really terrified that Pablo was gonna step on my umbilical cord and kill me, because that guy is huge, right? And so it was like, please don't step on me, please don't step on me. So there were those kinds of technical challenges. And the character's a little different. So it was finding the familiarity of the character that we know and love, but also kind of skewed differently. She is there for a different reason than we know, you know? So that was fun and challenging and scary. And you had so many questions, and now I'm trying to answer all of them. And walking onto this set, they were so warm and welcoming and wonderful. And I think I walked on set and somebody yelled, "Cortana's here!" And everybody cheered. I mean, it was something like that. So
That's
it was
awesome.
marvelous, yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. That was long-winded.
All the Halo games you've worked on, what's been your favorite musical score from them?
I gotta be true to Marty, you guys. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. They're so beautiful that it works, right? All of them work. They get you so excited about the world.
Yeah.
But the very beginning was what I remember, and how much that shifted my world and my perspective. So it's always going to be the OG. It's always going to be the beginning. Because that music changed my world.
Thank you. Thank you for your answer.
Yeah.
You have a good rest of your day, Jen. Nice meeting you.
Thank you.
You said a lot of the times you have a hard time. You try to love all of your characters that you do. Which of your characters that you did was the hardest for you to love?
The hardest for me to love. The hardest for me to love, and because it was the most difficult one for me to do, was Puck in Dota 2. Because they gave me so much contradicting direction that I wasn't sure what they wanted, the directors wanted. And I think, in all honesty, and they would probably say this too, I don't think they were quite sure. They had an idea of the character that they were having trouble pinpointing, and I think that I struggled with that. So that was the hardest one for me to like. I mean, I look at Puck now and I'm like, oh, you're cute and kind of gross and also cute, and which is sort of how what they wanted the voiceover to be. You know, they said things like, Puck is ageless and yet like an infant. Puck is everywhere and nowhere. Puck is, and I was like, how do I voice that? Puck is water and Puck is air. Puck, so that one I found to be difficult.
Thank you.
But I found it. Thank you.
Out of the Halo series, what would you say was the most impactful scene for you?
The most impactful scene to me, for me, was the end of Halo 4.
That's it.
I love this group over here. You guys are just everything.
The hype squad.
Chief Steve and I got to do that together and wept. And we had to do it over and over and over again. And it was so intense and touching and loving for us to get to do that scene together.
It got me
will
too.
be,
It got me.
yeah. I know people say to me that scene made me cry, and I was like, that scene made me cry over and over and over and over again.
You can ask my girlfriend right over there. I was crying like a baby.
You were not alone. I was with you. So I would say that was one of the big ones for me. Yeah. Yeah. And I just want to say that, and I know I've said this before, it has been such an honor to be, I'm gonna get teary-eyed. It's been such an honor for me to play this role. She's so much bigger than, this whole series is so much bigger than I am, but it's been one of the greatest gifts of my life to get to do this. And I love her so much, and it is such an honor to get to share it with you. So thank you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. I need to hire you to follow me around.
Hype squad. well, this has been fantastic, I know you're thanking us, but I want to thank you, and we should all give her a big thank you.
Thank you.